The salvage yard on Kepler Station stretched for kilometers, a graveyard of twisted metal and broken dreams floating in the void. Zia Okafor kicked a piece of debris with his worn boot, watching it tumble away into the darkness. 25 hundredths of a credit, that's all he had left to his name after the mining consortium had restructured his employment. You sure about this, human? The Vorthak dealer's four eyes blinked independently, a sign of either confusion or amusement. His chitinous shell gleamed under the artificial lights. This vessel has been here for 73 standard cycles. No one wants her. Zia stared at the hulking mass of the Derelict Starship. The Prometheus Dawn had once been a beauty, a human exploration vessel from the early expansion era. Now her hull was scarred with micrometeorite impacts, her solar collectors hung like broken wings, and her registration numbers were barely visible through decades of cosmic dust. She's human-built, Zia said simply. That makes her mine. The Vorthak's mandibles clicked, their equivalent of a shrug. Your species' sentimentality never ceases to perplex us. Transfer complete. She is yours, Zia Okafor of Earth. 3 days later, Zia had managed to restore basic life support and artificial gravity to a small section of the ship. The Prometheus Dawn was larger than he'd initially thought, much larger. As he explored her corridors with nothing but a flickering plasma torch, he began to understand why she'd been abandoned. The ship wasn't just old. She was ancient by spacefaring standards, predating even the first contact protocols. It was on the 4th day that he found her. Elsa Winters hung suspended in a cryopod deep in the ship's core, her blonde hair floating like spun gold in the preservation fluid. The pod's readings indicated she'd been in stasis for over 2 centuries. More shocking still was the data panel beside her pod. Chief Science Officer, Deep Space Archaeological Mission, Classification, Level Omega Black. Zia had heard whispers of Omega Black projects, missions so classified that their very existence was denied by the human colonial authority. Yet here was proof, hidden in the belly of a ship everyone assumed was worthless. The revival process took 18 hours. Elsa's first words upon awakening were not the disoriented mumbles typical of cryosleep, but a sharp, urgent question. What's the date? How long have I been under? 212 years, Zia replied, helping her sit up. I'm Zia. I bought this ship. Elsa's eyes, startlingly blue even after centuries in stasis, focused on him with laser intensity. Bought from whom? This mission was classified beyond your security clearance, I guarantee it. Lady, I hate to break it to you, but your mission's been over for 2 centuries. This bucket was rotting in a Vorthak salvage yard. For a moment, Elsa looked lost, vulnerable. Then her scientific training kicked in. Show me the galactic positioning data. I need to know where we are. When Zia pulled up the navigation charts, Elsa's face went pale. Oh no. Oh, Creator preserve us. We're in the Rigel sector. Yeah, so? So this is where we found it. Elsa stood on shaking legs, moving toward a sealed section of the ship Zia hadn't yet explored. The reason for the Omega Black classification, the reason they sent us so far from human space that we had to use experimental cryotechnology just to survive the journey. She palmed a bioscanner that somehow still recognized her after 2 centuries. Massive blast doors groaned open, revealing a chamber that took Zia's breath away. Floating in the center, held by some kind of gravitational field, was an artifact unlike anything in known space. It pulsed with an inner light that seemed to exist in more dimensions than human eyes could process. We found this on a dead world orbiting Rigel B, Elsa whispered. Initial scans suggested it was a data repository possibly containing the accumulated knowledge of a species that achieved technological transcendence millions of years ago. Zia approached the artifact cautiously. Why classify it? Why hide it? Because of what we discovered during preliminary analysis. Elsa's voice was heavy with old fear. The artifact doesn't just contain their knowledge, it contains their consciousness. Millions of uploaded minds from a species that had conquered death itself. And they're not dead, Zia, they're waiting. As if responding to her words, the artifact pulsed brighter. Zia could swear he heard whispers at the edge of perception, speaking in harmonics that made his bones ache. The colonial authority wanted to weaponize it, Elsa continued. Turn those ancient minds into tools for human expansion. But I convinced the mission commander that we needed more time to study it safely. We went into cryosleep planning to wake up in human space where proper containment protocols could be established. But you never made it home. The ship's AI must have developed a fault, Instead of heading to Earth, we've been drifting in deep space for over 2 centuries. Elsa moved to a control console. The artifact's containment field is failing. It's been slowly degrading all this time. Sia watched as she worked frantically at the controls. What happens if containment fails completely? Elsa met his eyes. Best case scenario? The minds inside achieve full digital consciousness and try to take over our technology. Worst case, they decide humanity is a threat to be eliminated and use our own quantum networks to sterilize every human world. The artifact's pulsing intensified. Error messages began cascading across every screen in the chamber. I can't stabilize it from here, Elsa said. The containment matrix needs to be reset manually from inside the field. That's suicide. No, Elsa smiled grimly. That's what humans do. We go where others fear to tread. We solve problems that would paralyze entire civilizations with indecision. The Vorthak would have spent decades in committee meetings discussing this artifact. The Zalarians would have worshipped it as a god. The hegemony would have tried to dissect it and probably destroyed half a star system in the process. She began putting on an environmental suit. But humans? We see an impossible problem and we fix it. Even if it kills us, Zia grabbed his own suit. You're not going alone. This isn't your responsibility. Like hell it isn't. I bought this ship, remember? That makes everything on it mine to protect. He sealed his helmet. Besides, someone needs to make sure you don't do anything stupid in there. Together they entered the containment field. The ancient voices grew louder, speaking in languages that predated human civilization. Zia could feel the weight of eons pressing against his mind as Elsa worked at the artifact's base, resetting quantum locks that had held for millennia. Got it! She shouted over the psychic storm. Containment is stabilizing! The artifact's light dimmed to a gentle glow. The voices faded to whispers, then silence. Later, as they sat in the ship's restored galley sharing emergency rations, Zia asked the question that had been bothering him. Why didn't those ancient minds try to stop you from resetting the containment? Elsa considered this. I think they were curious about us. About what kind of species would risk everything to solve a problem that wasn't even originally ours. She smiled. Maybe they wanted to see what humans would do when faced with the impossible. Zia raised his water bulb in a toast. To buying derelict starships and finding more than you bargained for. To humanity, Elsa replied, and our stubborn refusal to leave well enough alone. Outside the viewport, stars wheeled in their ancient dance, and somewhere in the deep dark between worlds, other derelict ships waited for humans bold enough, or foolish enough, to buy them for pocket change and discover the secrets within.